next to, but what would I specifically do about these issues of estate regeneration and so on? And I think if I was elected as the MP, I would seek to change the law to make sure that people have to have a final say over estate regeneration. And that would have to be through binding local ballots. Now, you'd have to have certain rules about how those referendums were held. You wouldn't be able to, it'd be madness to be in a situation where you lost the referendum 52 to 48%, and one side had completely lied, overspent their spending limits and so on, and rigged the election, and then people get their homes demolished. But you work through those things. But I think that is one of the real problems, is that people are not being listened to, and not having a binding vote on these things. Now, I have to say I'm not entirely in agreement with this idea about, I completely understand that how the council departments have been decimated by cuts to council funding, and that is a real problem in many ways. I don't think that excuses them from not standing up to developers, because when I took on the Shell Centre case, I did it on my own. I have no legal training, I'm not a barrister. I was up against 4 QCs in the High Court. It took a year. I spent every hour of my spare time doing this, and despite the vast legal firepower aimed against me, I've been a hair's breadth away from winning. And I had a very favourable judgment in the High Court, so favourable that the Court of Appeal accepted my case straight away without having to go through long processes of oral hearings and so on. And if I, acting on my own, as somebody with no training, can stand up to 4 barristers employed by Shell and Canary Wharf Group and the government and Lambeth Council, and come that close to winning, then a council planning department with full-time employees who work on this stuff can easily do that. And that is really what needs to happen. People just need to grow a backbone on this stuff and start actually opposing developers and opposing, and they should. Now, some of that also comes with, this revolving door question is about integrity. There's a lady called Rosemary McQueen. She used to be the Chief Planning Officer at Westminster, and is a good friend of mine, and she told me that when she left Westminster Council, one of the people there said, "Oh, well, Rosemary, it's no problem. You'll be earning megabucks in the private sector next week. What's your problem?" And she said, "No, I can't. I have a professional code of conduct. I can't work in the private sector for 2 years." And everyone kind of fell about themselves. They had no idea this professional code of conduct existed, because no one else pays any attention to it. And she is somebody with great integrity who actually believes in her profession and believes in it. And that's what we have to have in. And actually, one of the things that's been a big problem, and you mentioned it previously, is about Savills and places like that, who make up figures in order to engineer specific outcomes. What we really need is professional regulation of the built environment, right? We need regulators to come in and say, actually, some forms of behaviour are unacceptable, and there will be real-world punishments for people who depart from accepted behaviour and go to Cannes to schmooze with developers whilst they're selling off our land, and go and work for the people that they've been working on the case for last week, and all of these things. And those are just a few things we do. I think we could probably talk for another few hours about this, but that's where I'd leave it for now.
Brilliant.